Hello and welcome to the final episode of 10 over 10 I Recommend. I am your host, Lady. If you are new to my channel and LinkedIn page, 10 over 10 I Recommend is an audiovisual series that I launched earlier this year to give my unbiased and unpaid reviews of Nigerian businesses that I frequent regularly. So far, I have reviewed Arami Essentials, Oriki Group, and Zephans and Co. You can listen to and watch all my reviews on my YouTube channel, The Lady K TV. I chose to focus on Nigerian businesses in season 1 because doing business in Nigeria is akin to participating in the Hunger Games, except there are no rules and everybody is a tribute regardless of whether they volunteered or not. Pretty bleak, I know. So I salute every business owner who is running a legit company in Nigeria, because sometimes people on the outside will make you feel stupid for playing the long game instead of cutting corners, cheating your customers, collecting payments but refusing to fulfill orders. I'm side-eyeing Instagram vendors, treating customers like 2-day-old fried rice. How dare you? Okay? But you basically catch my drift. So let's dive into today's episode. Before I get into today's episode, let me just say that you will hear my AC in the background because it is very hot today. I normally record without the AC on, but I don't know what's going on in Lagos. Climate change, I don't know, but it is boiling hot. Let's get into it. For the episode finale of 10 over 10 I Recommend, I will be talking about Debbo Africa, a modern healthcare company for African women. Now, this is not the first time I've actually spoken about Debbo Africa. I did a newsletter edition on them, and I think I also talked about my experience getting a full body checkup at their location in Lekki. So Debbo Africa was founded in 2021 by two fantastic women and medical professionals, Dr. Zara and Dr. Nabila. I will say more about them further into the episode. I would describe Debbo Africa as a technology-enabled healthcare brand and business for women. They have a website that allows clients and patients to create an account, track their tests, bills, and results. Debbo Africa also has an on-site lab which features up-to-date equipment and trained lab technicians and staff members. The Debbo Africa lab is connected to the company's physical location, which has a lounge area and consultation rooms for clients, patients, and any woman who just wants a quiet space to chill, read, do some light work, or host a few of their girlfriends. I actually hosted a small gathering of women who work in marketing and communications at the Debbo Lounge in September, and we had a great time. So I would highly recommend this space for intimate gatherings. Before I get into the meat of today's episode, let's get a little bit personal. I was smart enough to start working out when I was in university, so I was probably around 19 or 20 years old. I literally remember how much attention I started getting from people after about a year of working out consistently. I had 24-hour access to the gym at my uni, so after I was done with classes, assignments, and readings, I would work out for, I'm telling you, 2+ hours. And I'm talking weight training. I'm not just talking, light stuff, And I also had a friend at that time who was just as invested in my physical health as I was. And that was the person that introduced me to weight training and strength training. So whenever I came back to Lagos for the holidays, summer, or Christmas, he would come to my gym to train me literally for hours. Like, I swear, I used to work out with Charles for 4 hours plus, and he would kick my butt. Okay, because he was an OG in the game, but he taught me a lot about discipline, endurance, and perseverance. He also taught me the 80-20 rule, and that's 80% of the work is done in the kitchen and the remaining 20% is done in the gym. I also started eating clean around that period, tracking my calories. I was on a low carb and high protein diet, and I cut out alcohol from my diet from 2012 to about 2019. Till date, I really only drink on special occasions or when I'm on a date, and I limit myself to 1 or 2 gin and tonics. I don't do sweet cocktails because I will wake up with acne the next day. Finally, being in America meant that I had access to mental and emotional health support and resources. I spoke to my professors and other responsible adults about certain things I had seen growing up and issues I was still dealing with in my personal life. I started uni at the age of 16. I was an underaged minor trying to fit into American college life without losing my mind. My point is, I started investing in my health and well-being from a young age, and now that I am in my early 30s, I can see all my hard work finally paying off. Now, one thing about being a woman with a reproductive system is that things are rarely straightforward and balanced on the inside. From the start of my menstrual cycle, probably around the age of 13 till the age of 18, I had what I would describe as an irregular cycle. I didn't bleed for 7 days or 10 days or 15 days. I bled for the entire month. And I'm talking about heavy, change your pads 3 to 4 times a day bleeding. Every single month I got my period, I already knew what to expect. For context, the normal length of periods can be anywhere from 2 to 7 days, though 3 to 5 days is the most typical. And before you ask, yes, I did inform the responsible adults in my life about my irregular cycle, and they didn't do anything about it. 0 trips to the doctor, 0 trips to the OBGYN. All I heard was heavy cycles run in my family. And that was that. So best believe I'm taking this beef to the grave. Okay? I basically lost a ton of blood between ages 13 and 18. And I'll explain why it stopped at 18. During those years when I was a dependent, I didn't have a lot of control over what I ate or how often I could go to the hospital unsupervised. So I had no choice but to deal. If you grew up in a typical Nigerian household, you know that you ate whatever was put in front of you. So even though I should have been put on a different kind of diet because of what was going on with my cycle, I wasn't. I just had to deal. Please just imagine dealing with this as a teenager, as a young girl, because a 13-year-old girl is a girl, not a young woman, okay? In secondary school, I was a boarder, and that meant I had to be discreet about changing my sanitary towel. Because imagine your high school bullies finding out that you were a super bleeder. Game over. Now, I am glad I went to university abroad because God knows how long it would have taken my parental figures to get me the medical attention and help that I desperately needed. After I settled into uni, I went to the school's health center and told them about my irregular cycle. My doctor was shocked that I had been bleeding that heavily and frequently for years, and I hadn't passed out or developed some kind of infection or disease. I do remember in secondary school, especially my second secondary school, I was tired a lot during the day whenever I was on my period because obviously I was losing a lot of blood, and that's in addition to sports, moving around, classes, and everything else that you had to do in secondary school, right? So that explains a lot. Now, since I was a minor, my doctor couldn't put me on birth control without parental consent until I turned 18. We didn't bother getting consent from my biological parents because there was already a pattern of neglect. They didn't take the condition seriously and just told me basically deal with it, right? So there was no point going to them to ask for their consent or their support. Instead, she prescribed iron pills to me and told me to eat specific foods like leafy greens and red meat. And based on my symptoms, she also gave me my first early diagnosis of polycystic ovarian syndrome, also known as PCOS. Imagine finding out you have cysts on your ovaries at the age of 16. 1-6. Scary AF. But I am glad we clocked it early enough in an environment where I had access to great health care and food items I needed to manage my condition. For those who might be wondering what my PCOS diagnosis and intense exercise and diet routines have to do with Debbo Africa, I will explain. Because Debbo Africa was founded by African women, they understand how difficult it is for African women to open up about their medical issues and get the help they need from medical professionals. Religious women will speak to their pastors and spiritual leaders about their health issues first before consulting a medical professional or specialist. And I'm speaking from experience. Literally, rather than even just do it concurrently, like speak to a doctor and speak to your pastor, they will go to their pastor or their imam first to talk about their health issue and then take months before they go to a doctor. Many women will ignore their symptoms and put the needs of others before theirs. So the needs of their husbands, their children, their parents, their jobs, before they literally go to the doctor to say, there is something weird growing on the side of my neck. Help me. It has been there for 2 years. Some women cannot even purchase sanitary pads or tampons without feeling a form of shame. And don't even get me started on the tampon conversation, because honestly, in the eyes of a lot of hyper-religious Nigerians, you are basically a lady of the night. Now, imagine finding out that your irregular cycle is not a curse or spiritual issue, but rather a medical condition that can be managed and treated with medication or birth control. Imagine that. This is why I stand Debbo Africa. When I went in for my full body checkup, I felt comfortable, I felt heard, and I felt validated. I didn't need to over-explain myself or withhold any information. Because at the end of the day, if my doctor doesn't know what's really going on with me, how can she help me? How can she refer me to the right specialist if I am not honest about my symptoms? I am team tell my doctor everything that she needs to know so she can help me. In addition to offering medical services, Debbo Africa also offers counseling sessions to women who need to discuss their emotional and mental health needs with safe and trustworthy psychologists and therapists. Have you ever heard of a mother who was so stressed, so tired, so overworked at home and in her place of work that she had to check herself into the hospital just to have 2 to 3 days of rest without needing to be there for someone or the other? This is the reality that a lot of women, yes, around the world, but even in Africa, where women are expected to carry the bulk of the emotional labor at home, chores, raising the children, almost treating their partners as babysitters as opposed to partners. Like, we had this baby together. I am not the only parent. I'm not the only one who's supposed to nurture and care for this child. The both of us have to do it. We're a unit. That is the reality of being an African woman who also has a physical body and a mind that she has to take care of. Every month, Debbo Africa organizes women-focused health events in their lounge and other locations. During these events, women can ask questions about their bodies and also open up about challenges they faced in seeking medical help without facing any judgment. Do you know how many women have suffered miscarriages and didn't tell a single soul? Nobody knew. You could be in a room full of 50 Nigerian women, and I swear up to 50% of them have had miscarriages and they didn't tell anybody. Maybe it's time we consider changing the status quo and get comfortable with discussing health issues that affect African women in vetted and safe spaces. Okay, full circle moment. I met Dr. Zara in 2023 at the WeTech conference. A big ups to Flora and Gabby, co-founders of WeTech. I was moderating a panel about mental health and burnout, and Dr. Zara, who was in the audience, shared some useful tips from the perspective of a working woman, doctor, and mother. We connected after the conference, and I made time to visit the Debbo Africa Lounge and Lab this year. As a matter of fact, when I was still working at Jamit, I had sat down with Dr. Zara to come up with a plan for the women on my team to give them access to full body checkup and other medical services that they might need, because that was just my way of giving back to the women who worked with me at the time. In June of this year, I met Dr. Nabila at a Debbo Africa event. I was invited to moderate a panel on healthy lifestyle tips for women, and both Dr. Zara and Dr. Nabila joined me on the stage as panelists. I feel very lucky to know women like Dr. Nabila and Dr. Zara. They are professional, very demure, extremely committed to the cause, and genuinely want African women to take care of their bodies, minds, and souls. I find that African women, I'm a Nigerian woman, so of course I always speak from my perspective as a Nigerian woman, but I find that there's so much pressure on us to be this and that and this way and that way. But I cannot tell you, okay, when I used to have male friends, or like when I used to actively, say, yes, I want a man to be my friend, I can't tell you how many times any of my former male friends ever said, hey, have you had your annual checkup? Hey, what's going on with your body? Hey, have you ever experienced hormonal imbalance? Hey, this and that. There's never been any kind of care about my physical or emotional well-being, right? And I can say that for a lot of women, when they get married, I don't know if they really understand that responsibility of what happens to their body actually rests on them, because they just sort of get married and they're like, all right, let me have kids, and then when there are complications, everybody's surprised. But did you do a test? Did you go to the doctor with your husband or your husband-to-be to do a fertility test? Do you know what's going on with your body? Do you know what conditions or diseases exist in your family? Do you know if any of the women in your bloodline, whether it's 3, 4, 5 generations back, have ever struggled with irregular cycles? I know, just based on what I heard when I was 13, I know that there are women in a part of my bloodline that have struggled with fibroids, complications at birth, really heavy bleeding during their period, and such and such and such. So I am taking it upon myself to ensure that I don't have any issues. Now, I am child-free by choice. I don't have any intention to have children, but just because I don't want to have kids doesn't mean that I shouldn't still know what is going on in my body and what's going on with my hormonal levels, because at the end of the day, if my hormones are off, then my entire body is off. Okay? So I'm hoping that in 2025, we all commit to taking care of our bodies and go get your annual checkup done at Debbo Africa. Okay? That's all for me, folks. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in 2025 for season 2 of 10 over 10 I Recommend. Bye!